There's a couple interesting non-super chats we had I wanted to ask about too. Somebody, oh, this is a cool one here. Jeremy Shaw, he says, who else remembers seeing RVD live beat Regal for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 18? My brother and I marked so hard, my dad had no choice but to get in on it.
Mm.
How about that? So, what were your memories of that WrestleMania 18, being in Toronto and all that kind of aspect?
Well, I always liked going to Toronto. And so that was cool. That was the first time for me being in front of a crowd that big working. I mean, I was at WrestleMania 3 in the crowd, but so many people. It was awesome. Um, my memory is that I didn't think that the people liked my match that I had with William Regal because I couldn't hear the people reacting.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably sounds funny because there was 73,000 people or whatever, but in a building that big, the acoustics are weird and the sound just went straight up and it didn't make it to the ring. And I was really bummed. I thought, it was going good or whatever, but I was like, man, I don't, what's with these people? Why are they so hard? And I was really disappointed in it. And I remember when I went back, I was going to ask, like, what was wrong? And then everybody was like, great match, great job. And I was like, I'm so confused.
Did anybody explain that to you later on? Because that would have threw me off too. I think, especially if it's like a dome, and I'm like, oh, inside that means you're going to hear a whole lot of people because it's in a dome and stuff. But no, it's like yeah, right. The sound goes up and everything like that. When did you kind of realize, like, oh, it was just how the acoustics were in that area?
I don't know. Somebody probably told me that. I can't really remember, but somebody in Gorilla must have heard me say that. I couldn't hear them. It sounded quiet. And they must have said, that's because the sound goes up. I don't know. I almost want to say it was Eddie. Like I can imagine him being in Gorilla, but it's weird because it didn't stand out for me to remember that. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
somebody must have explained it right then, I guess. And then later on, I would come to expect it in big buildings when the ceiling is 4 miles up.
Right. Were there any nerves being in that kind of big environment for you, like going into like such a huge venue, being at WrestleMania and stuff like that, or was it just like, hey, it's a crowd, I know what I'm doing, I'm confident in my abilities, and all that kind of thing?
There's always nerves. There's always, for me, it's being so hard on myself. I just don't want to fuck up,
Right.
and I don't want to blow up. That's like the worst feeling when you're winded. And sometimes, like even if you're doing a lot of cardio and you're in great condition, sometimes just the couple of days of travel that it took to get there, time change, or you could have like a cold or whatever. There's so many things that could affect your respiratory performance that night. And for me, that's always on my mind. I'm warming up because I hate being out there when I can't breathe because I feel, it sucks. It just sucks. You can't, because you need oxygen for energy to be able to move. And besides that, I remember when like in Japan, when I learned that, I also felt, too vulnerable. Like these guys could beat the shit out of me right now. And I'd have to say, hold on, I need a minute, or roll under the ring. That's what it felt like sometimes. So I've always, that's always been important to me, is to at least do everything I can to condition myself. And then before the match, I like to really warm up. I don't warm up as much as I used to. Like, for instance, if I used to do 10 of these kicks, 10 of these kicks, now I might do 2 or 3 of this, 2 or 3 of that. But I stretch my lungs also. That's a big thing. And really like using your position of what you can to be able to expand your ribs more. If you can take some weight off of your chest with your arms and like really get it in there and then let it out like really slowly, man, that helps me so much when I'm out there trying to breathe. And I think about it like, you got your lungs are full of these little balloons, your ravioli, and Yeah. And then you think about it like if like a balloon, if you've already blown it up a few times, it's likely going to be ready to blow up again and be stretched out, as opposed to one that's brand new and cold and maybe not quite as flexible, and it might be harder to push air into that. And so that's something that's always been important to me as well. But anyway, there's always nerves. There's always performance anxieties. For me, it's like I don't want to blow up, and I want everything to go the way I want it to go, the way it went up here in my mind. I visualize. I got to go out there and like boom, pull it off. And I always put pressure on myself. Sometimes, if it's someone I'm working that for whatever reason I just feel like really comfortable with, then the other night in Chillicothe when I wrestled Matt Riddle.
Hmm.
Uh, this match is on the YouTube right now because I
Is
saw it.
it?
So yeah, I watched part of it, but the crowd was great. But I just remember, and I hadn't even wrestled Matt Riddle before, but I just remember walking out there, and I even asked the fan, I'm high fiving him, and I stopped, and because I'm always talking shit, I
Yeah.
stopped and I said, does everybody feel as comfortable as I do right now? I felt like oddly like serene, comfortable, like different than being at WrestleMania 18 in front of 73,000 people.
Yeah.
Usually, I do have that pressure on me, but it does vary some. The obvious answer is fuck yeah. There was a lot of fucking nerves for WrestleMania 18. Anytime live TV, makes it more than not live TV when you do a lot of those TV versus non-TV house shows will affect, the range of nerves. But usually if you're bringing RVD in, it's going to be one of your bigger shows, unless you're just, spend happy and don't care, about bringing it back in.
Yeah, that's it. How was it working with William Regal? Did you like working with him?
Yeah, I always had a lot of respect for him, and and considered him like more of a teacher, I think, than a peer, because he he had me doing stuff that I normally wouldn't do. It seems like we worked half the match from an overhead top wrist lock, and I don't know if it was this match, but it was around that. No, this was way back in WCW.
Oh.
The night I worked him second match in Northern Georgia, and then I left, and then a snowstorm hit, and everyone else got stuck there for days. And that was I worked in my mind anyway. Yeah, I know I did. I worked William Regal, and I just remember like he had me in a top wrist lock, and like he was able to teach me and coach me through like a match that made I was looking so good, like jumping up and doing head scissors, but he pushed me off, and I'd try again. Boom, maybe I would kick him or something. And this time, maybe I would take him down. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was still while we're in the top wrist lock, going up into and working like up here instead of working on the mat. It seemed like we kept going up to that. And I was like, wow, like I appreciate this guy's England perspective or whatever it is. But I always respected him. And a lot of people don't know this, but when I got hired with WCW, it was the same day as Max Payne, and William Regal had shown up to give Max a ride because they roomed together
Hmm.
with Chris Benoit, and I ended up being William Regal's road partner for a while. Like he would rent the car, and when I was doing the house shows in WCW, like he and I rode in the car for a while. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean that's like something that uh, when that happens, like there's so many people you can put on that list of people that you rode with, especially if it's just two people in a car.
Yeah. So some of your notable road partners: Sabu, Booker T, William Regal, Mike
Well,
Austin, right?
that's it. That's basically it. Shaw Stasiak.
Sean Stasiak too. Okay, okay.
And